So the first exercise was, again, something that you might do as a bioinformatician. It said that you had to write a function that takes 2 arguments, a protein sequence and 1 amino acid residue, and return the percentage of the protein that the amino acid makes up. So it also then gives you the following assertions, which you should have double checked to see if it's doing the correct thing. And then all you do is you just copy these assertions, and then you would replace, what's going on here? You would replace the part that says my function with your function name. Okay? So again, how you would have done it, you start, I don't know, like I said, how you do it or how you would do it, but I start with this. So I would start with the body or the logic behind it. So I know it's going to take a protein sequence, and I know it's going to take an amino acid sequence, and like we saw earlier before, it's better to make sure that you really account for the fact that you don't know whether the user is going to have it all in lower or uppercase. So you would write your amino acid that it's giving you. You would already convert that to .upper, and then your protein sequence, you would already convert that to .upper as well. Then you do exactly what we did to the .count method. You would say the protein sequence that the user is given and .count the amino acid that they will give, right? So it's exactly the same as having in here a DNA sequence, for example, and counting an A. And then exactly the same arithmetic. You would calculate the length of the protein sequence, and then you would divide the amino acid that they gave you, or the count of the amino acid, by the length of the protein and multiply everything by 100 to get a percentage. And you add that to the return statement, and you just make sure that you have these assertion tests at the bottom. Now, normally how we would have written it is you would have your sequence up there, and this would kind of be like that. If you see it like that, then it kind of makes sense. And then normally you would then over here you would say, instead of having amino acid there, for example, you would put in the amino acid that you want to calculate it for. So for example, S. But here the user is allowed to specify what they want. So all that's changing here is that because you're using a function and the function has a colon, you've indented this to follow the Python syntax and structure, and then you've made sure that all of this that's inside the function remains in that block of code. So now to call the function that you've named, this is the function name. You've put your protein sequence, which is this, into a variable. So because this function takes your protein sequence and the amino acid that you want to calculate the percentage for, you would then give this the protein sequence, and then serine, which is your amino acid. And I've given it in small letters to make sure that this is definitely calculating it for small letters as well. And I would then check, okay, S is there only once, and this is 20 amino acids long. So it should be able to, is S only there once? Twice. It's there twice. So it should be 2 divided by 20. And then that should, I'm confused here, 2 divided by 20. And multiply that by 100. This is what the function is doing in the background because of what you've given it here. And it should give you 10. And then you print and you check if it's doing exactly the same. Again, you can obviously now, in this case, you can make the function better. You can add significant numbers. You can add additional amino acids. And that's exactly what they did in the next part of the function.